battle in our lives is really not about circumstances or situations. It's not about your pedigree or your historicity. The battle in our lives is really about us becoming who we were created and destined to become. The battle is about becoming. And it is the intention of God for you to become the greatest expression of who you were created to be. The problem is that most of us never engage battle so that we can ever express who we were truly born to be. And as long as we don't do that, we're going to continue to be ruled by cycles of frustration and failure and defeat. We're going to live below our privileges and our potential, and we're going to continually experience cycles of frustration and failure in our lives. And so what we have to do is we have to make the decision that we're going to engage the battle. We're going to do the necessary work that is so intrinsic to changing our lives and to manifesting the future that has been preordained and predestined for us even before the foundation of the world. And so you have got to make that quality decision that you're going to stop negotiating with inferior circumstances. You're going to stop living in an identity crisis. You're going to stop allowing cycles of immaturity to rule your life, and that you are going to make a decision that you are going to win the battle to become who you were created and destined to be. Because at the end of the day, that's what this journey is about. That's what every experience in your life has been about, empowering you to become everything that you were created and destined to be. And then we started to delve into the blind spots. We talked about self-deception. We talked about distractions. We talked about all of these deviations and things that show up in our lives to get us off of the course of our destiny and our future. I believe that divided focus is one of the greatest enemies of your destiny. And whatever you allow to divide your focus has the ability to disempower your world. And so many people in the world today are divided in their focus. Their focus is divided between social media, reality shows, what's happening in the media, what's happening here, what's happening there, and they are not living in the center of their assignment. One of the greatest ways that you protect your focus is by living in the center of your assignment. And so make a quality decision that you're going to give your assignment your undivided attention, that you're not going to give circumstances or situations the power to sway your attention, the ability to drain your energy and your focus, and that you're really going to focus on the things that you have been destined and created to do. And so that brings me to the last part of this series, and this is the topic today of bravery. Bravery is a word that many of us will say, oh, I know what that means, but I don't think enough people understand the power of bravery and its importance in changing the course of our destiny and our future. A lot of times we are not totally aware that we are being held back or derailed or held hostage to not just a way of thinking, but also to emotions and to patterns and pathologies in our family line or even generationally that are holding us back from the life that we've been truly destined and created to live. And what I've discovered over the years is that when it comes to changing your life, one of the last factors that most people consider is the factor of bravery. We pay so much attention to our circumstances, and we pay so much attention to the noise and to the distractions that most people don't understand that the thing that's really holding most people back from the life that they truly desire is not a lack of resources, it's not a lack of relationships, it's not a lack of capacity. The thing that really holds most people back from the life that they truly desire to live is this whole thing called FEAR, fear. On the other side of your fears are your prophetic future. On the other side of your fears are prophetic fulfillment. On the other side of your fears are forward progress in your life. And the most important thing I've discovered is that on the other side of your fears is freedom. And so the thing that holds most people back from moving forward with their lives is this 4-letter word called fear. Now, what I've discovered about fear is that fear is an illusion. But the thing about an illusion is that an illusion begins to come alive and becomes a living thing in the life of the person that magnifies it. See, whatever you magnify in your life, you give that thing the power to master your life. Write that down. Whatever you magnify in your life, you give that thing the power to master your life. And so the more we magnify our fears, our inhibitions, our limitations, our self-imposed lids, our self-limiting beliefs and perceptions, as long as we magnify all of the things that can go wrong, all of the things that can send our lives in disarray, those are the things that are going to continue to master our lives. And so what we do is we make excuses for why we continue to allow fear to have permission and residence in our lives. Did you get that? We continue to make excuses for why we continue to allow fear to have a place and to have the permission to be accessible and to be a part of our lives. And so when we begin to really sit down and think about it, we'll say, I don't have the resources. And the reality is that when something is vitally important to you, you will find a way and not an excuse. But when something is not important to you, you'll always make an excuse. The reality is that the moment you take an action in the direction of your prophetic future, every resource that you need to reach your goal and to realize your potential will begin to be attracted to you like a prophetic magnet. So the reality is that resources are not really the problem. Then we'll tell ourselves we don't have the relationships. The reality is that when you take a step in the direction of your prophetic dream and future, every divinely ordained relationship and network for your life will begin to be attracted to you. So then that throws out the excuse that we don't have the relationships. Then we tell ourselves we don't have the time. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have told me I just don't have the time. I'm too busy. There's too much going on in my life. And these are the same people that I sat down with and done time audits and life audits. And what we realized is that this was just another excuse because there were windows, not just pockets, but windows of wasted time in these individuals' lives where they were doing absolutely nothing productive or effective with their lives. I learned that there were countless hours spent scrolling social media. There were countless hours binge watching shows on Netflix. There were countless hours just sitting and doing absolutely nothing productive, countless hours on the phone talking about nothing, countless hours surfing the web doing absolutely nothing. And so it's not really that there was not enough time. The real issue is that those things were not priorities for you. And because they were not a priority for you, you didn't pursue them. Because anything that is a priority, we will pursue. Anything that is important to us, we will be intentional about and we will make the investments in. Did you get that? Anything that is important to us, we will make the investments in and we will be intentional about accomplishing. So we've already ruled out that the lack of resources is not really an excuse. The lack of relationships is not really an excuse. The lack of time is not really an excuse. And then some people will hit me with this infamous answer, and that is, I don't really know how to do it. I don't have the capacity to do it. The reality is that everything that you have been created and destined to do, you have the capacity to do. Capacity is dormant until capacity is developed. And so what has to happen is you have to begin to develop your capacity in an area. You don't develop